So I am 17 now, but I've always loved art throughout my life. It's just been something that I've pursued as just a hobby in school as well.
Yeah.
It's just been lovely to have opportunities to be able to explore a lot of different mediums of art. And in terms of poetry, I've always liked to read, be it, you know, soup cans, books, whatever I could read, I did. And so I got into poetry when I was about 13. And it's just kind of
evolved up to where it is now.
Evolved.
So now, right here, we have a puzzle. So maybe, how do you work it out? How long does it take you to do it? And yeah, maybe you can do something small for us as we continue. Can you do it? Can you do it as we're having the interview?
Yeah, of course, I would love to.
I mean, you guys, you know? Yeah. So let's do it. So how long does it take you to do this?
So usually it depends on whenever I'm doing it. I enjoy doing puzzles when I'm off school. So during the holidays, it's just something that I sit down and I do, like puzzles like these, round puzzles, you know, square puzzles, whatever type that I can find that looks interesting. And so it takes me about 3 weeks to 5 weeks to do. If I'm really concentrating, I can usually get it done in 3. But it's something that I really enjoy. It allows my brain to just kind of figure out, you know, puzzles. It's nice to have something that can keep my brain working as I'm out of school. Yeah.
That is interesting. So now, speaking of school, so how are you able to, in school, do you also do the same thing in school? Maybe what subjects are you taking in school as well?
So in school, I take literature, psychology, and history. And I love those subjects so much because they allow me to write more, but in a you know, school-like context. I write essays a lot in those subjects, and it's just kind of nice to have a way to explore my passions because I really like history, and I like literature, of course. And psychology is something that I've been really getting into recently. So it's just nice to have those avenues to explore and through school.
All right. So now, speaking of history, maybe who are some of the maybe personalities that you maybe look up to? Maybe you read their stories and you're like, you know what, this is pretty quite, you know, inspiring.
So I love Maya Angelou so much. I love all of the work that she did. And I just think it's brilliant to see such a powerful Black woman who has had such a wide influence on literature, because I take a lot of my inspiration from her as a poet. And I also love Wangari Maathai. Her work on the environment is just brilliant. Yeah, I've read Replenishing the Earth, and it's just such a wonderful book.
All right. And going into, we have so much going on here. We have this, so maybe you can tell us about some of these that you create. And then this set of pair of hands that is actually my favorite. But before we go into this, maybe just take us through what is all here.
So I am a very big advocate for recycling and just creating through using whatever you have at home. And we drink a lot of coffee at home, so we have leftover jars and everything. And instead of throwing them away, I like to paint them and just use them for decorative purposes. As well as these bottles right here. You know, I made this when I was 12, 13. And this was kind of, I think this was my first actually attempt at doing a glass jar. And also just kind of using recycled materials. So nice. Like,
what is this? Can guys actually have a look at this? This is pretty amazing. So you've recycled all of this. Maybe what material are you using here?
Yes, so I used paper and tissue paper as well, just regular papers, and I folded them into flowers. I actually made this for my mom for Mother's Day.
For real? Can we maybe just, you guys do?
Yeah, of course.
Wow, this is interesting. So you said all this is recycled material?
Yes, it's all recycled material that I had.
And then now going into these piece of hands and everything, so tell us about it.
So when I think I was about 15 years old, I really enjoyed sculpting, And in school, that is what I decided to pursue when I was doing art as a subject. And so these hands are actually my hands and a friend of mine's.
Oh, wow.
And we were kind of working together to create sculptures, and she was really helping me a lot. And it's the same thing for this. So I just used a mold.
Sorry to cut you short, but
No, it's okay.
it's very interesting the way you're so modest, and so the same thing as this. And it's not just this is guys. I mean, I have never. I don't think I've ever made anything of the sort. So, what is this? What is this material? And it's quite heavy as well.
Yes. So, both of these are plaster of Paris that I just poured into a mold made of sodium agate. And it's actually a much more simple process than you would imagine, but it does take practice to really get something that isn't so cracked or chipped. But it's a very fun process, just creating with these mediums, especially plaster of Paris.
All right, and are you looking forward to maybe one time selling some of your pieces?
Maybe in the future, definitely I would sell my art. When I have more downtime, I would like to get into making more clay pieces, perhaps. That's something that I would like to do, and those I think I could definitely sell.
All right, that is interesting. So now there is an interesting card over here, guys. So I understand it's written Happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
So yeah, so you've talked about your mom severally. You're like, oh, my mom and this and that. So maybe how has the support system, before you tell us about this, the support system from maybe your parents, maybe from your mom, how has it been?
So it's been absolutely brilliant. My family has been an integral part of my art journey, my writing journey. They've been so supportive, as well as my friends. So I have some really best friends, but I think in reality my mom, I would say, is my best friend.
Big shout out to mommy if you're watching this.
Yeah.
So,
hi.
Hey mom. So another thing, so this is for her, this particular card.
Yes.
Maybe for guys to actually see Happy Mother's Day. So why you don't have to buy a card yourself,
Yeah, so usually I try to avoid buying cards and like small gifts for Mother's Day or birthdays or whatever. I really enjoy just sitting down and creating a personalized card for the occasion. So if I found out that, for example, my uncle really likes F1, which he does, I'll sit down and design a card that looks like a racing car for him. So
amazing. And now going into your book, you've been writing, so you can tell us about how, 17 years, she's doing all this, she's writing, she has books. What am I doing with my life? Anyway, so tell us about the book that you have, and maybe where guys can actually get them and the inspiration behind it.
Sure. So I, like I said, have loved poetry since I was 13. It's just been such a good outlet for me to express my emotions and be able to talk about such a wide variety of subjects. And so the inspiration I had for this particular book was I had started writing poetry when I was 13, and it's just kind of progressed and evolved. And as I looked back, I saw the journey that I had gone through as a teenager, and I just decided to compile all of the poems into this one book to show how I've just grown and progressed as a person, as a teenager.
Right. And maybe how has the reception been from your friends at school, maybe from home as well, when they see you doing all this? How has it been?
So it's been a really cool reception. I've had people who really want to read the book, which is very exciting. And there's just been a lot of support, which I'm so incredibly thankful for. It's been such a surreal experience, and it's so nice to have those grounding figures in my life who can just kind of bring me back and give me advice and give me their thoughts and everything. It's been lovely. All
right, so there you have it, guys. This is let me take a look. Look, this is Oddball, by Nzilani. So make sure you guys grab a copy. Where can they actually get the books from? Maybe.
So it's available on Amazon for pre-order, but it's launching officially on October 22nd at Alliance Francaise. So I extend an invite to you all.
Thank you.
Of course, you're most welcome.